Well, look who we found. It's John Meadows, the mountain dog himself.
Welcome to PricePlow.
John, you just put out granite supplements. We're absolutely loving it so far, at least the Arc Reactor Pre Workout. So, what inspired this?
You want me to say that on camera?
It's going on YouTube. So,
Well, you know what? I just I feel like I want to do something a little different in the industry. I want to have products that are not quite the norm. I want to go the extra mile. As a business guy, you know the margins aren't as good, but I'm playing the long term. I'm not playing the short term.
right, it's a loaded product, so we know that.
Yeah, and I'm hoping the consumers will try the products and they'll say, you know what, this is fantastic, and they'll be willing to spend another $5. But I just wanted to do something different. I mean, all my life I've tried to maybe do things a little differently, so I'm putting my faith out there that people want something better. They want something really good, and I'm going to make it happen.
All right. So, what can we expect from the brand coming in 2017?
Well, I want to, I want to put a lot of stuff out, but you can only do so much so quick, right?
Yeah.
So I've got an amino acid formula coming out, essential amino acids and Pico 2. I have a product coming out that I'm really hoping women like. We love women.
If it's by you, then the women are going to love it, obviously.
So, we have a really cool joint and skincare product coming out. There's different, there's type 2 collagen. There's just some really cool stuff with that product, and it's good for your skin. We all want pretty skin, right?
So are you doing the ingredient research yourself? Do you have a team? Like, how do you decide on one ingredient versus the next? Like collagen versus?
Well, I think probably the normal business practice is say, okay, I want a product, and here's the price point I want it to be at. I kind of work backwards.
Right.
I say, okay, what is the best product? So we lay it all out, and then we say, okay, where's the synergy? And then it's like, okay, now we look at the price point. Okay, are we in the ballpark? If not, we got to make some adjustments to the formula. Or are we in the ballpark? Arc Reactor was like right there on the edge, man. Like, we used every cent. But so for me, I think what would make the best product. Then it has to make sense for consumers, as opposed to I just need 80 points of margin or whatever. That's just my mindset.
How long has the line been in development? It just launched recently, so how long has that actually been? How long have you been kind of doing the stuff behind the scenes before the big debut?
I tell you what, here's what happened. Last year I was competing. I did 5 pro shows in 6 weeks, and I was doing a show in Texas. And I ran into some good friends of mine, and one of my friends said, hey John, taking one of your products, and it upsets my stomach all of a sudden. And I was like, wait a minute, cluster reduction doesn't do that. So one thing led to another, and I basically just said, I'm just going to do this myself. I know a lot of good people. And I wasn't familiar with the manufacturing side, so I had to get up to speed on, okay, what do these guys do? What do the certifications mean? How do I know what I tell them is going to go into the product? And when we made our first run, I was actually there watching them.
Cool.
And my manufacturer, I was actually right there with my hairnet on. But I, probably April or May of last year, I was like, I'm going to do this myself. And I had as much control as I guess you can have without having massive spy satellites all over the facilities. But it's been a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic. All right, so you've got the products launching this year. What else do you have going on? Are you doing any shows this year?
What about you yourself?
Personally, what's going on?
Oh man, I don't know if you guys saw my near-death 212 experiences last year, including this one. Last year at this time I was competing in this show.
Right.
And very, very difficult to make 212. So I'm going to compete probably late May, early June. Thinking about the California Pro. That's where our headquarters is. Doing SKU Scout, California. And then probably there's some shows in June, but I'm going to do the open class. No more 212s for me.
Yeah, get down.
I'll be 45 in April. I'm like, what?
Nothing to be.
I got kids, man. I don't want to die.
Well, yeah.
And
exactly.
some of those shows last year I did 4 hours in the sauna, 5 hours in the sauna, 6 hours in the sauna.
So now you're running a business pretty much. Are you the CEO? Are you doing everything? Like, how do you plan on balancing that with like dieting down? Like, when we see bodybuilders diet down, they kind of can't function as well.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
business. So.
You know what? Okay, so I'll tell you guys a funny story. So last year, I was dieting so hard for this show, the Arnold. Like at 6 o'clock every day, my ears would even start ringing, like a buzzing. I'm like, yeah, you know what? This probably isn't good.
That's not normal.
I'm calling my friends. Hey, has this ever happened to you? Nope. Hey, Joe, has this ever happened to you? Nope. I'm like, oh man.
Wow.
So, but I actually can get down to like 220 when my weight's like 220, 221. I'm extremely lean. That's actually easy. It's pretty easy for me. It was that final push of making the weight is what was really difficult and probably very unhealthy for me. So, but it's actually, believe it or not, it's actually not that bad. I stay in pretty decent shape, so I can be in really good shape in 6 weeks. So I don't have 3 months of, pure suffering. Really, it amounts to maybe 7 to 10 days. It's pretty rough.
Okay.
But I like to track my body fat. I go down to the University of High State, and I actually have to do it underwater. And I can get below 4 without murdering myself.
Awesome. Wow.
So,
Impressive.
Yeah.
Well, CJ and I were talking on the flight over here about the Mountain Dog diet. It was an old video that we saw that you had done with the guys from Elite FTS, where breakfast was 3 big breakfasts from McDonald's. And
Or about Dave's video, or
yeah.
how to go up a weight class in powerlifting.
Yeah. So what was the genesis of all of that?
First of all, it was meant to be entertaining. Okay. So
You have a responsibility. People watch this stuff.
yeah. I mean, everybody's have olive oil pouring on their pizza, and it's caloric density, right? So Dave is a real good friend of mine. He runs Elite FTS, and we've been in the sport 30 some years, so we have lots of stories we can tell. And that was just one of those days where like, hey, why don't you tell them about how you had to go up to the higher weight class, and so it actually was a true story. But we actually didn't want anybody else to try it. But in the spirit of entertainment, we decided to share one of our older stories.
That's awesome.
And then how did the Mountain Dog training system evolve? So I know you used to say
man.
your back struggled for a long time, so you had to figure out all the different kind of rows and everything that you would do. So is that kind of what started everything? Was just you experimenting with the system and how that developed?
Well,
where did that begin?
I have, first of all, a lot of it was because of dumb stuff that I've done. So a lot of near major injuries made me rethink training. I had some body parts that didn't really respond well, so I had to put a lot of thought into training. But it's not like one day I just said, boom, this is it. This is an evolving process. I just finished writing like my 28th program.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've seen them, but they're very detailed.
They are very intense. Yeah, Mountain Dog training is intense.
Very detailed. There's a method behind the madness, and everything I do. I don't feel like people have ever looked at exercise sequence as a major. I think certain exercises play better after doing other exercises. There's a big component to longevity in it as well. I mean, I've almost torn every muscle in my body at one point or another.
Yeah.
So it made sense to structure a workout where you didn't end up injured. You're going to get strains just from the fact that you're training hard for years. I mean, that's just a part of the...
Yeah, you're breaking down your body day after day, and it's going to take its toll.
So it's just one of these things. It's not like it's finished. It's just an evolution, and I'm continuing to... I think about training nonstop.
What's the last thing, like the latest major change that you've kind of like rethought and put down on paper?
Pre-workouts. So as far as the training, okay, don't hate me, all right? So I'm kind of wondering now, as you get older, does it make a lot of sense to put heavy bars on your back? Because the spinal compression, you see so many guys have atrophy in some of their limbs because of spinal issues, and you see so many back injuries, so a few of my friends and me, we're kind of like, okay, let's avoid that. Let's see how we do. And guess what? Our legs didn't shrink up. No problem. So it's just thinking that's geared more toward older lifters.
Right. You want to keep doing this as long as you possibly can.
Yeah. I mean, I'll be 45 in April, and I don't want to be done at 46.
Right.
So and I haven't went back, and I don't think personally I went backwards physique-wise. So, but it's because I put a lot of thought into it. It's not happening by accident. So
is that kind of what spurred the? I know you usually prescribe starting with hamstrings first in the leg workout. Is that kind of where all of this started?
That was purely by accident. I went into the gym and every squat rack was taken, and I said I'm going to do leg curls first. And then I went over to squat, and it just felt different. It felt better. My hips felt better. My knees felt better. So the next week I went in and I said, you know what? I'm gonna try that again. So I did it again. The next week I did it again, and I was like, hey, I called my friends, hey, try this, man. So they called me back. They're like, holy cow, that felt awesome. It feels like I have springs when I'm squatting. And so that was a pure accident. But it's things like that. You know, if you really think while you're training, you know, how things feel and how exercises play on each other. And it's a little different for most people. You know, you may have an exercise that feels a little different for you than it does for me, but it's just paying attention and thinking, you know. It's really cool when you're younger, you can get by with very simple programs, but as you get closer to your genetic potential and as you get older, you got to put a little more thought into it, you know. So, you know, I can't just go in and do 10 sets of 10 on the deadlift like I used to do.
Right.
You put a little bit more thought into it.
You're not just a student of the game, you become a student of your own body too. So
Exactly.
the level that people don't think about sometimes. That's great to hear.
And that's actually one of the cool things I think about Granite is that a lot of the names that front a brand don't actually do the science, but you actually get geeked out about all the ingredients and everything.
Yeah, and you
that
popped
kinda
out
go into
a
this,
few
too.
new ingredients too that we hadn't gotten to try yet. So that was fun.
Yeah. I like that vaso drive.
Yeah, there you go.
And
And fight vasoconstriction. That makes sense for a pump ingredient, right?
Right.
Yeah, sure.
What's the key with the BHB salts in keto, the keto products?
So when I built that, I think there's a little bit of misleading information in the industry. When I built that, it wasn't, okay, I don't care what you've had today, drink this and you're going to go into ketosis. That is not true. That does not happen. You don't go to IHOP like I do and eat 8 pancakes and then drink BHB salts and go into ketosis.
Right.
What I wanted something for people who are not even low carb, low calorie. When you get to a point in your diet where you're struggling, some people just don't like carbohydrates around training. I personally do, but a lot of people don't.
Right.
So I wanted something, okay, how can I deliver energy without giving people calories and carbohydrates? So BHB salts make a lot of sense to me because they can be readily used as a fuel. So it wasn't to put you into ketosis, it's just to give you a fuel when you're dieting really hard. Now I've had people say, well, I'm bulking up, can I use it? No, that's not the point. The point is when you're training really hard, when you're dieting really hard, that's where I think you get the real value out of it.
Because they're expensive. We haven't gotten to try them or anything. I hear they taste terrible, so how have you been able to mask it properly?
You also heard Teacrine tasted terrible.
Yeah, that is true.
That's true. No doubt, the call out right there.
He mastered that.
So you got it, huh?
It was actually one of the best pre-workout tasting, like the flavor, that tangerine was like one of the best ones I've had in a long time.
And it had some stuff to cover up.
It took 2 months to get that to taste that way, and it took a lot of iterations. I went outside the industry. I didn't let my manufacturer even do it.
Gotcha.
I went to a flavoring house. We took 2 months on it. I was not going to relent on that 100 milligram dosage because I think that's where Teacrine really gives you that.
You actually feel it. You don't feel anything below
He noticed that a while ago.
Yeah.
You're
That was
absolutely right.
very specific. That was very intentional.
And so these are the same guys that flavored the BHB salts as well?
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
So it's
Cool.
going to be good then.
Yeah.
It'll be really good.
Yeah, we have a fruit punch and a keto and a blue raz. The blue raz is like whatever bites. That's what's selling the most. I personally like the cosmic punch myself. But yeah, we had the same people flavor that. We didn't let our manufacturer do that either. It's like this needs some specialty work.
Yeah,
here.
right.
So it was somebody out. I don't want to say they're outside the industry, but it's what they do. It's all they do.
Gotcha. Right. Wow. Well, Granite Supplements, if you're a fan of the Mountain Dog, like we are, for sure, you got to check out the Granite supplement line because the Arc Reactor is a heavy-hitting pre-workout, and it sounds like we got to try some other products you got coming down the line too, including the BHB salts.
Make that happen.
All right. Thanks, John.
All right.
Yeah.
You bet.